Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Chase here. Welcome back, Alan, to the show. We've missed you, buddy. He's just been busy doing schoolwork, just like I have been busy doing schoolwork. But Alan is back, and we're going to be talking about today primarily UFC 167, the big matchups on that card. Well, pretty much the whole main card is fucking sick, and also the undercard's pretty underrated, if you ask me. We're going to be talking about UFC 167, talk about what we missed out, the JDS versus Kane matchup, the Jones versus Gustafsson Fight of the Year matchup, also Nick Diaz and Gilbert Melendez killing each other in that octagon. We missed a
Diego
lot of
Sanchez.
discussions. Oh yeah, Diego Sanchez. I don't know why I said Nick Diaz, but Nick Diaz is a
Well,
good.
they're boys. Yeah.
Yeah, they're boys. It'd actually be interesting. Maybe dive into some little bit about the Ultimate Fighter and also the sadness of Bellator canceling Rampage and Tito. My heart was broken, Alan. My heart was truly broken.
Yeah, just to clarify, so it should be a chance. We're still boys, but obviously, real life stuff happens, and we've been busy. But yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we can't miss the 20th anniversary show. Are you kidding me? Hell no.
I know, man. I figured I'm hearing reports that Randy Couture's trying to bang down the wall. Or door, I should say.
Did you by any chance before we talk about the show watch that documentary on Fox Sports One?
I did. Yeah, it was really good. I thought it was just showed you how the sport has evolved. Well, not the company, I should say, not the sport. I think the sport's evolved because look, the promotions have gone. Strike Force, Pride. So
Yeah,
yeah, just the promotion, I should say, not the sport.
yeah. The promotion of UFC grown. I mean, it was a crazy documentary to say the least. I was just like, oh my god, this is like some crazy stuff going on. Like we all know the past about the UFC, how Dana got the UFC, but we didn't know who the original owner was or who the original creator was. And I really liked that portion where they talked about how they were thinking about creating the UFC. And not that, and at that time in the '90s, that was a huge deal. Like everyone wanted to know, okay, who's the best kickboxer? Oh, could Bruce Lee beat Muhammad Ali in a fight? That type of deal.
Yeah.
And we got those kind of somewhat similar answers, and it was just amazing to see, Royce Gracie getting talked down by the original manager. He was like, "Oh, what, Royce? He lives in your basement, and he takes care of your children. What the hell is that?" So,
Mm-hmm.
definitely interesting stuff. If you haven't checked it out, Fighting for a Generation. As who is that again? He does the fight now. I always forget. I know he commentates with Kenny Florian. Who is that? Who is
I
that
think
again?
maybe John Anik.
Yeah, John Anik, as John Anik would
Yeah.
fucking scream after every commercial, UFC fighting for a generation. And I'm like, oh my god, calm down. He
Yeah,
screams.
he's a little bit too much sportcaster, but I met John Anik. He's a good dude. But one thing I want to say about the documentary, I totally forgot they used to do the ramp because I remember they did the ramp for I think it was Tito versus Matthew Sanko,
Hmm.
which Dana always says was like the worst card of all time. Not every fight sucked,
Yeah,
so that's why they got rid of the ramp.
and the pyro,
I,
and that's why they don't do sing the national anthem at UFC events.
I, I know that's so. Well, I think they did for Fight of the Troops just because it's Fight for the Troops.
Oh yeah, well, it's a big deal there, and that was actually a good card too. Tim Kennedy actually did
Yeah, I
shit.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, so let's get started with UFC 167. Before we talk about the main card, we got to tell you guys who's on the prelims, the big names on the prelims. Last month's prelims for uh, Kane versus JDS, that prelim show, like I said, that prelim show right there could have been its own fight card. And
I know, man. Look, you saw fights like Hector Lombard and Nate Marquardt and George Sataropoulos versus KJ News, and to have a just guy, Sarah Kaufman, that was a slugfest. And Boach versus Dolly wasn't that great, but like those
that
prelims,
Yeah, but
that was
that
incredible.
is worthy for a fight night main event if you think about it. Like Bosch versus Dollaway, that's something because Dollaway is rising up and Bosch, he's kind of on a rebound. So that's perfect for a fight night main event. But that card was crazy. But the prelims, it depends on how you look at it. You have Donald Cerrone, obviously the biggest name on this prelim, taking on Evan Dunham. God, I remember when Evan Dunham was like 11-1 and he was supposed to dominate, and then Melvin Guillard just derailed him. He's just been derailing him.
I still thought Dunham's a tough guy to finish. I know Goulart derailed him, but I don't know. It seems like Dunham never goes away.
Hmm.
But then I guess Cerrone also has some pretty serious power. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good main event to put on the pre-show, to get people excited. Because Cerrone is a pretty, not big name, but he's like popular in terms of, the mid-level guys.
Yeah, and this is a big card for the UFC because it's rare when you have an October card or October/November card be really, really huge. Luckily for the UFC, they've had 2 back-to-back, with the October card being Kane versus JDS3, and now you're getting St. Pierre versus Hendricks. And this is going to be this fight right here is going to be one of those fights, kind of like the WEC 54 card when Uriah Faber versus Jose Aldo. Now, that could sell itself. But when people saw Chan Sung Jun and Leonard Garcia kill each other, they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. And they started calling people and the pay-per-view providers to order this WEC event because they were hoping more fights like this. And I believe, like you said, this is a perfect main event. Donald Cerrone and Evan Dunham. These two are going to just probably stand and bang. Maybe a little bit of takedowns from Cerrone and Dunham just to be safe in the fight. But, this is going to be an entertaining fight. This is going to be a fight where people are going to say, hey, I got to call my pay-per-view provider because I'm not missing this UFC 167. And I feel it's a perfect fight.
I feel like Cerrone, I don't know if you heard this, but Cerrone's thinking about going down to 145, and I just how the hell he's going to do it. He's so tall. It's like, he looks so skinny to begin with. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a good move for him, but there's a lot of sluggers at 145. You got like Cub Swanson and Shetman. Like those guys have serious knockout power. So I don't think Cerrone is doing himself any favors of going on 145. If anything, I think 145 might be better than 155.
Yeah, I think he should just stay at 155. I don't think he needs to make the move down because, like, Cerrone, to me, he's one of my favorites, but he's never a guy that's going to be a huge challenge for a champion. I mean, it's not that his skills are bad or anything. It's just that he's one of those high energy guys that the UFC likes to keep around, and we know them, like the Chris Liebens, Leonard Garcia back in the day.
Our hero.
Yeah, Chris Lieben, our hero. He's going to destroy Uriah Hall. But I hope that's a main card fight. But, Donald Cerrone, he's just a high-energy guy that the UFC keeps on the roster. He's never going to lose a string of fights. Like, he's never going to lose, 4 straight to get him cut because he's going to always split a fight or win 2 or 3 in a row. But he's never a guy that is meant to challenge a champion. I feel like he could challenge the current champion.
Close, though, man. You gotta look at it. He was close. He just lost those big fights. To Nate Diaz and Cerrone, and not Cerrone, Pettis
and Henderson, Henderson back in the old days. And Henderson back in the old days in WC.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
So
yeah, but it's like in the big fight, he just gets totally pieced up. Like Pettis just walked over him, and Diaz kind of made a fool out of him. It's like, I don't know, he's supposed to step it up. Like, I feel like Cerrone in this fight, but I think it's gonna be a brawl. And it seems like it's almost impossible to finish it. Evan Dunham.
Yeah.
Evan Dunham.
I think this is going to go 3 rounds, and these guys are just going to... I feel like it's going to get boring, like, near the second round, because Dunham will be like, oh, I got to take you down and just do nothing for you for a little bit. But then afterwards, in the 3rd round, these guys are going to just bang it out for the win. Other notable names...
Right? I think Rick Story, right?
Yeah, Rick Story is the other notable name. He's fighting Brian Ebersol. That's not an easy fight for him. That's going to be an interesting fight for sure. I like that fight.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't heard Ebersol's name in a while. I can't really honestly. I think did he fight? I think at 140, and it was a pretty dull fight. I forget what it was.
I think Brian Ebersol did cut down to 140 because let me check. Brian Ebersol had it lost to James Head.
Card, I remember.
Yeah, he fought at UFC 149 and lost to James Head via split decision. So.
I like Rick Story. I think he's kind of underachieved a little bit, and I think he needs to win this fight big time. So I like his chance. I think he's more explosive than Ebersol. I think Ebersol is just too slow. I don't know.
I like Rick the Horror Story. I like when he has a catchy name, the Horror Story.
Yeah. Horror Story. And what else is going on? I know. That's the Facebook part. Pest is good, but I'm losing focus. What's the other prelims?
Ed Herman taking on Talis Latis. I don't care about this fight. I don't find Ed Herman entertaining because his nickname is not Pee Wee. And Talis Latis, I'm sorry, dude. What was his last fight? It was like one of the Brazil cards. He just looked pathetic. Yeah. He didn't look that great to me.
Didn't Ed Herman just have a crazy fight? I think on that Seattle card, he went out on the stretcher. Another guy went out on the stretcher.
I don't remember that fight. Was that the Demetrius Johnson one where he fought Morga?
Yeah, that card. I know it quite sounds, but like I saw Ed Herman. Like people were like, "Oh my god, man, he just went through a brawl," and then there was a picture of him like in a hospital. So I don't know. I mean, I got to do research, but yeah, Talis Latis. I don't know why he's with the company, but it's got to give him up. The fight will probably fly Anderson.
Yeah. He almost defeated Anderson Silva. That was a great fight between him and Anderson Silva in Canada. I paid for that pay-per-view. I paid for that pay-per-view too. That's what pissed me off the most because I was like,
Uh,
I saved up money just because I want to see an Anderson Silva pay-per-view. And so, like, I told my dad, like, hey, look, Dad, look, Chuck Liddell is fighting, taking on Shogun Rua. And my dad, he didn't know anything about MMA. Like, he knew, but he only knew, like, like Matt Hughes and all those other old names. So he didn't know who the fuck Anderson Silva was. And he offered to pay half, so I wouldn't waste like $50 on it. So I was so happy, but I was just so disappointed that I wasted $25 just to see Talos Latis just stay on the ground like and do nothing.
you know what's funny about Anderson Silva? Like, he's like he is the greatest of all time. But like, when you look at like the pay-per-views, like there's a good half of those fights, like he's main evented. They left you disappointed. Look at the Damian Maya fight.
Yep.
What else? I look at.
You can even throw in his.
Was another one.
You can also even throw in his Chris Weidman fight as a disappointing fight because he lost.
Absolutely.
You can almost throw that in there.
I thought the Maya one was the most like very disappointing. I'm just like, come on. Now.
Yeah, especially because we got that exciting lightweight title fight between BJ Penn and Frankie Edgar on that card, and Frankie won in a questionable decision. It was such a tough fight to call. I didn't even know who won that fight. I just said they're probably going to give it to BJ because he's more marketable.
Yeah, I was shocked they gave it to Frankie. Yeah. I just remember if anything with Anderson, like my favorite always Vitor. It's still my favorite knockout to this day, and like that's what like I was always I've been MMA fan since say like 09, but I would I missed a few pay-per-views in there. Once and I saw Anderson Naga Vitor, I'm like, dude, I gotta watch everyone now, and that's what really got me hooked. And now I'm here. So
yeah, no, exactly. Like Anderson, like for his last like you said, he's had lackluster pay-per-views, Kote, and then afterwards he had freaking Latis, and then afterwards he had Maya, and then after that Chael pay-per-view, that's when it's just like Anderson's pay-per-view stock has just been going up and up. So yeah, no,
I'll give him props. I'll give him props for being Forrest. That was a cool fight.
Well, he wasn't the main event. He was like the co-main to Kenny Florian and BJ Penn.
I forgot he was a co-main event. That was weird. Anderson's so co-main event. Anyway. And then there's one other prelim, right?
Yeah. Let me click on it. I'm using the UFC website. They actually have cool little stats on the side. So Eric Perez and Edwin Figueroa, like fire, I think it is called. It means in like Brazilian. But I like this.
Perez, I like him, man.
You like Eric Perez? I like Edwin Figueroa. I don't know how he's been doing because he's always been on the undercard. But these guys look very even.
Struggling though.
These guys look pretty even to me when it comes down to like takedown accuracy and takedown defense, and then like their striking is pretty interesting. Eric Perez
been killing people on the first round. He just lost to Mizugaki by a close decision. That was a crazy fight, but I think I see Perez is too explosive. Like I think he's one of the rising stars, and they're hoping like he becomes a big deal because there are a lot more Mexican fighters up there. Kane and Diego and all that.
No, yeah, definitely. I can see Eric Perez winning this fight. He took on some tough competition. I'm looking at his resume, and he looks pretty good to me. So, Goyito for the win.
What happened?
Goyito. That's his nickname, Goyito. I don't know what it means.
Yeah,
Goyito.
For all the wrestling fans out there, I heard like a rumor was that he was supposed to appear at a AAA show or something. And he had to pull off last minute, but I think he's a big wrestling fan, so there you go.
All right. So, Eric Perez, AAA champions one day.
Triple H. He'll be facing Ken Shamrock.
No, he'll face off against AJ Styles for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
Well done. Do I get the main card?
Yeah, I'm ready for the main card. And I was reading your preview beforehand, and I do agree. I like that the UFC is finally putting the Met weights, a.k.a. the flyweights, on a main card to open up the show. Dude, they are Met weights. They are 125, man. They must be doing something to be this skinny. I mean, so okay, for this season of The Ultimate Fighter, Rousey and Tate.
Yeah.
I don't know how some of these motherfuckers are making, for the male side, are making 135. These motherfuckers are tall. How are they making 135? Like, is like my weight if I was to cut weight for the UFC, or 145. Those would be the divisions I would fight in. Or actually, GSP is only 5'9", right? 5'10"?
Yeah.
Okay, then I can fight welterweight. I don't give a fuck. But you know what?
Well, not all those guys may weight. Cody Bellinger is waiving his six-figure World Series of Fighting contract that he's right now.
Oh, that would be mean to Cody. Come on, he just didn't have it in him. I'm
He'll
so
fight Nick Newell, which should be a cool fight.
yeah. This fight, Tim Elliott, he's rising up the ranks. I don't know if he because who's that one idiot that can't make weight? I can't remember his name in the flyweight division.
Why am I blanking on his
Yeah,
name?
I
John
blank.
Lennon. There you go.
Yeah, John Lennox. Like John Lennox would be the number one contender if this motherfucker could make weight, but he can't. But I feel Tim Elliott wins this fight, which I'm predicting that he might. I don't know anything about Ali Bogantinov, the puncher. I don't know anything about him, but Tim Elliott, he looks like I like how he fights. I've seen a couple undercards with Tim. He's not boring, but he's not super exciting. But I think he could give a good matchup against Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and also a good matchup for John Lennox. Because what I've said about John Lennox is the only reason why he has power is because he's showing up heavier and then he just eats a bunch of food afterwards. And that's how he has power. Because he's not tired. He's not tired from all the cutting that, the other fighters have to make. He's lazy with his cuts, but Tim Elliott, I think, should win this fight. And also, I feel Tim Elliott, he has a nice look. He has a different look. He looks like a Wolverine.
I thought it looks like Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah, he kind of does a little bit. If you look at the bone cheeks and everything, yeah, he does. He does look like Daniel Bryan. Yes.
Yeah, not many people know about Bagatov, or however you pronounce his name. He's not one of the upper kind of Russians, but he had a crazy knockout for a look card against Marcos Vicevis, I think is how you pronounce it. Sorry, I'm butchering it, but no, I think Elliott's just too experienced, and he's going to be more all around. And his cardio is always up there. There's so many question points with Ali, but one guy you're forgetting about to get a future title shot is John Dodson. He's fighting, I think, Scott Jorgensen. I think on that.
So is Demetrius John? So is
John Dodson's fighting Jorgensen, I think, on that Sacramento card. I think if Dodson beats Jorgensen, he might get another title shot.
So we're going to see.
Especially if Benavidez wins, then you can do Benavidez Dodson.
So is Demetrius Johnson just going to dominate his flyweight division? Because I don't know. Mighty Mouse has been looking too good for me to choose anyone over him.
Benavidez has looked great too. I know his competition is not great, but Benavidez, he has Ludwig with him. I give Benavidez a good shot.
No, all right, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't know. I'm still high on Demetrius. I'm really liking what Mighty Mouse is doing. When I saw him fight, I was just like, oh my god, this guy's actually really good. Live.
I got Elliott, by the way.
So. Yeah, no, I got Tim Elliott too. I don't know anything about this Ali. His nickname's Puncher, which is pretty cool, I guess. But other than that, I have nothing. I have nothing to say about this guy. That's the problem with the flyweights. Is they don't market him that well, and that's what I think the problem is with the division and why they're not on pay-per-views. Is because half the guys when you look at the flyweight division, you're like, who the fuck is this dude? But with all the other divisions in the UFC, you can be like, oh yeah, I know this guy. The bottom feeders of the heavyweight division and light heavyweight and lightweight, middleweight, and it's kind of shaky. Welterweight, sometimes some guys rise, sometimes some guys just go into dust. But with the flyweight division, I can only name you probably 5 of these little midgets, and that's it.
Well, hopefully they'll keep pushing him and keep giving the opening fights on what's it called, the pay-per-views, and we'll see. I don't know. I think the Steel Prime on main event helps a little bit, but I just think maybe they need more crazier fights. I don't know. It's hard to promote them, but I don't think they'll ever headline pay-per-view. I just don't think people will buy into it. First off, the buy rates aren't even doing that good to begin with. How the hell are you going to put flyweight time? So yeah, flyweight is the main event. I'm saying so. I think they'll either be a co-main event on pay-per-view or just free shows.
Yeah, exactly. Because, but one thing I do like about flyweights is how you get to see how short these guys are, and then they can't even reach the cage when they try to jump up and celebrate. It's kind of cute, actually.
Well, John Dodson does backflips often, so that's a good point.
Well, he's athletic. John Dodson's really athletic.
Yeah, I love John Dodson. But let's talk about who used to be the biggest heel in MMA. Not so much now.
Josh Koscheck taking on Tyron Woodley. Honestly, Josh Koscheck, this is going to be a test for Tyron Woodley. But knowing Josh Koscheck, just because he's a fucking idiot, he won't try to take down Tyron Woodley. I mean, Josh Koscheck, watch what Jake Shields did. Just do what Jake Shields did. Yeah, the fight will be boring, but that's the only way Koscheck's going to win this fight. He ain't going to win this fight trying to strike with this man. I mean, Tyron Woodley, he's not super experienced on his speed. Obviously, we saw that with the Marquardt fight he had in Strikeforce, but this kid is growing every day. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch just because it's I want to see Tyron Woodley succeed just because he's so interesting, so entertaining to me. I don't know if he's because he's African American and African Americans are normally entertaining, but he is just entertaining to me. And Josh Koscheck will do what he normally does. He ain't going to utilize his great wrestling. He's just going to try. I always feel like Josh Koscheck could have beaten GSP in that GSP fight if he would have just focused on his wrestling, but he didn't. He took
Yeah.
down GSP that one round and dominated that round, and then afterwards he was like, okay, I'm just gonna stand here and let you punch me in the face. Josh Koscheck's striking has always been shaky. Okay, against
Yeah.
crappy fighters like who's that fucking Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Yo, don't hate on my boy Anthony Rumble Johnson, the guy who's the only guy ever to gain weight while being in the sauna.
Hey, don't hate on Rumble Johnson. Him and Vitor had a good fight, I remember.
Yeah, but the thing is, he showed up, I think, weighing like, I think it was 197 he weighed in now when he was supposed to make 185.
Yeah. And then Vitor just said, bump it up to 205. Vitor won title.
Let me get my medicine first, but
let me get that TRT in my. Let me get my TNT.
I feel like Kosh is like a lot of wrestlers where he's I think this is kind of a Rashad's problem in a way too. They just start falling in love with their striking because they knocked out a few guys. Like, Kosh he knocked out Matt Hughes, and now he thinks he can knock out anybody. Like, it's just, eventually you just have to go back to your morals. And the first time I saw Woodley, when I think he beat Paul Daly, and I was just really blown away by that guy. And I know he lost to Shields and Marker, but God, that Shields fight was just brutal. I can't even call that a loss. Like, maybe I'm calling it like a no contest through the boredom or something. Woodley, I say like Woodley's so explosive, and another thing with Koscheck, man, he's just been, he's got so many injury problems. Like, he was supposed to fight Ellenberger last year and he got hurt. Then he was supposed to fight Maya in August. Like, I just think maybe the injuries are coming, they're starting to catch up to him. He's not AKA anymore. So I just feel like he's completely declining, and I just think it's a bad matchup for him. So yeah, I'm definitely going Woodley here.
Yeah, and I also don't think Josh Koscheck, if he gets cut by the UFC, I don't think he should go keep on fighting. I think he should ask Dana White and those people at Fox Sports if he can become like an analyst or something. Because the dude's a smart guy. I mean, he's not like Kenny Florian smart, or Chael smart or Rashad smart, but he's a guy that's entertaining. I mean, he has the fucking troll hair, so he has a good look to him where you could just promote him on TV. So I'd say.
I know. Do you think he's that popular though? Because they had a lot of popular guys. I think Cormier wasn't that popular.
Yeah, Cormier is not popular, and you see his little teddy bear ass on UFC tonight. So
yeah, I know it'd be cool to see Koscheck on it, but I feel like he's a competitor, and his ego is pretty high. So who knows what he does? But like I said, I just feel like this is a bad match.
You know what? It's the rematch that we all been waiting for. Bellator, book it. John Fitch versus Josh Koscheck. You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. Put that with Tito and King Mo. Oh, I'm buying that pay-per-view. Buying that pay-per-view. All right, now it's time. Now it's time for me. Even though it's kind of weird to say this, but I am saying this. I think this could be the fight of the night. Rory Aries McDonald taking on Robbie Ruthless Lawler. I think this is going to be the fight of the night. Robbie Lawler, for everyone who doesn't know, this guy used to fight back in like the UFC, back when UFC was in the 30s. This guy was fucking amazing. And he had some career bumps. He left the UFC to go fight for somewhere else. I can't remember. I think it was Strikeforce at the time. I can't remember.
Strikeforce.
He left the UFC when he was hot, went to Strikeforce, and he's been.
Oh, wait. No, I think it went to Pride.
Yeah, Pride then Strikeforce. I wasn't sure if it was Pride or Strikeforce, because Strikeforce was around, but it wasn't big. The only thing they had going was Frank Shamrock was fighting there. So that's what got them over the hump. But Robbie Lawler, this guy used to fight back in the old days. So I am a fan of the ruthless Robbie Lawler. When he came back to the UFC, I was like, okay, this guy, I don't know if he has it in him still to be fighting at a top level, but he's just went through a time machine. I don't know what the hell he's been doing, but he took some Tim Duncan medicine. And that's what he's doing.
It's hard not to be a fan of this guy. I think kind of his problem was from a few years ago that I don't think he should ever been the middleweight. He's kind of like in that Hector Lombard mold where it's like, I don't think you can last against 185ers who know how to wrestle or, grapple, because with Lombard he struggles and he got pretty much manhandled by Yushin Okami for the most part. So now Lawler, I forgot who beat him in Strikeforce, but
Jake Shields beat him at Strikeforce.
Yeah, he should have went to 170, and he's playing at a good weight, and he's a threat, man. And some people are saying, oh, maybe, McDonald's going to, just jab him out, and, he's going to freeze. I'm like, dude, Robbie Lawler is not Jake Ellenberg. Jake Ellenberg is very one-dimensional. Robbie Lawler, this guy gives head kicks, uppercuts. He's just always aggressive, and I feel like Robbie has nothing to lose at this point. Like, he's just enjoying the ride, and You know, I don't think he feels any pressure. Like Ellenberg had all the pressure, you know, to finally win the big fight, and he struggled. So I feel like, I can't see this being boring. Like, Rory McDonald's last fight.
Yeah, no, Rory McDonald is definitely going to have a good fight against him. I think this is going to be a great fight. We're going to see a lot of head kicks. And one thing I like about Rory McDonald is he's like Chael Sonnen. When he takes you down, this guy is not going to GSP you or who's that? Ben Askren, is it from Bellator? He ain't going to do any of that boring crap where he just lays on you or John pitches you. He goes down you and he hits you hard. And the thing about this fight, though, is that his takedowns may not be too well because Robbie Lawler is a pretty damn good wrestler. I mean, he stopped Jake Shields a couple times when him and Shields used to fight. You know, he's a pretty damn good wrestler, and I think Robbie Lawler, he wins this fight if it stays standing up because, you know, Rory, to me, I can't really say who he has beaten that's an elite striker. Like, you know, Robbie Lawler is his best test when it comes up to standing up with him.
Don't forget Lawler. He pretty much snuffed almost every takedown of Koscheck when he beat Koscheck, and then he just grinded him out and beat him up. So yeah, you definitely gotta give props to Lawler there on being definitely a damn good wrestler. As for Rory, when he fought BJ Penn, could you really call BJ like a top level guy at that point?
Like I don't even consider BJ top level guy now that he's at 145. I mean, everyone loves the craziness of BJ Penn. I'm pretty sure BJ Penn is like, oh, I'm going for the title. Watch out, Jose Aldo! Like I would like to see BJ Penn and Jose Aldo just because it would be funny just to see BJ Penn try to fight Jose Aldo. But other than that, like Robbie Lawler, he's very underrated. And like at first, Alan, you were high on him, and I was like, I ain't high on Robbie Lawler. Like I wasn't high on him because he didn't look good in Strikeforce. Like when you're not looking good in Strikeforce, there's something wrong with you. But he's come back, like you said, and has been a whirlwind and. I'm enjoying this whirlwind. I think Robbie Lawler can pull off the upset via split decision. I think it's going to be a close fight. It's going to be like, oh, who won this fight? And then Robbie Lawler just gets that split decision. Rory ends up going like, oh, well, now people don't have to talk about me fighting GSP anymore.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Rory, but I'm going to go once again. Maybe not split decision, decision, but Lawler is definitely going to win the round. I just think right now, though, I think McDonald's too explosive, and he's just his size at 170 is crazy. Like he could be kind of like a John Jones, where he could just manhandle people by using his size, using athleticism as jet. So, but
do you think
in the against Robbie Lawler, though?
Do you think in the future, you know, people are always asking for the super fight between Anderson and John Jones and Anderson and GSP. Do you think in the future people are going to be clamoring for that Rory McDonald and Chris Weidman super fight?
Hey, yeah, and you know Weidman does go to TriStar to train, so that's interesting. But
like, do you think? I know
Roy's stock is hurting from that last fight. I don't think people are clamoring to see it. You know, you might be looking at like the bad guy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because like it's not like it's like oh, you know, because Anderson he's explosive, John he's explosive, GSP's explosive, and how even Jose Aldo, like maybe Jose Aldo versus like I don't know Anthony Pettis, like those are fights you want to see, but like. I don't know. I was just thinking, like, it would be funny in the future. You know, we have Rory as welterweight champ. Who knows if Chris Weidman becomes a two-time or stays middleweight champ when he faces Silva again? You know, everyone's like, oh, I want that Rory McDonald and Chris Weidman fight. I would be like, God damn, that's kind of fucking crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's crazy, but like you know, I think both guys, you know, they gotta have some more good performances. You know, get their name out there. They're both very well. Weidman, I think, is 29, but Rory's obviously very young, so. You know, potentially we could see that happen. But yeah, I'm still gonna go Rory here, but dude, he better be careful. I can just see. I just picked in the division right now for Robbie Lawler landing that left high kick.
Yeah,
and Rory goes night. I can just envision it, but it's hard to pick against Rory. So
that kick, that was another thing I forgot to mention. That kick by Lawler, if he can get that combination going where he likes to punch 2 times and then goes for that kick, that right there could be deadly. That right there is a deadly combination. So I don't know because.
He hit that head kick like 4 times against Volker. It was crazy. I'm like, Bobby Volker, what are you doing?
Yeah, but I think Lawler will pull off the upset. I think this is going to be upset city. It's not because I hate Rory, but I just feel like there's going to be moments in the fight where Rory, he's just going to be all like complacent and he's not going to look super dominant. And you can make the case, well, Rory won the fight, but at the same time, you're like, well, look at Lawler's overall stats because, you know, MMA judges shit based off boxing, not by fucking MMA stats. So that's the reason why.
And then Dana's going to say, Rory, he's not putting good performances, Rory. The booty had the building or something. So you'll freak out.
Exactly.
Now we got the people's co-main event here.
Originally, Chael called out Vanderlei the Axe Murderer Silva, but it doesn't matter because win or lose, Chael Sonnen is gonna fight Vanderlei because he's gonna coach Tough Brazil, which I don't understand how he can do that. I don't know if Chael understands Portuguese or speaks it, but he's gonna do it. And he's fighting his UFC Tonight co-host, Sugar Rashad Evans, and this was one thing that I heard Dana White said in the UFC on Fox Sports Live. And I only watch Fox Sports Live when Dana White's on there. I don't find Donovan McNabb entertaining to talk about. Entertaining. I mean, Gary the Glove Payton, I feel like that dude, like, I don't know if you've ever watched a Fox Sports Live, but Gary the Glove Payton, he must be on some type of fucking drugs. I don't know what the hell he's saying half the time. He must be. He's all he was talking about Michael Carter Williams, like one game I can't remember, and he was all like, "Yeah, man, what happened to those 9 steals? He ain't no glove." And they're like, "Gary, he had 3 steals." I don't know now. And he's just like screaming, like, "Oh my god!" But yeah,
they gotta get Gary Payton, Charles Barkley, and Shaq in the same room.
Oh god, that'll be the most funniest scene ever. Like they're not going to talk anything about basketball, but it'll be funny.
I know.
I still like Inside the NBA. I still like it. I still watch it.
Cool.
It's a funny show.
And with Chael Rashad, I said like this is a nightmare match for Chael. He can't grind him. He's not gonna grind out Rashad. I think it's highly unlikely he's gonna go out in a guillotine or an arm triangle choke or something like that. I just like this is like just a really bad matchup for him. Rashad's not gonna guess that. He's always coming in in phenomenal shape. He's not gonna be like Shogun all puffy and winded after 3 minutes. So I can't see how anyone could pick Chael in this fight.
I'm picking Rashad in this fight, but I think it's going to end probably in the second round. I'll probably say Rashad catches him with a knee or something. Because, like, the thing about Rashad is, he and this is what Dana White said on the Fox Sports Live thing, where he was all like, oh, yeah, Rashad has been saying, like, he's just been too hesitant in his fights and he needs to loosen up more. And that's the thing with Rashad. He needs to loosen up a little bit more and he needs to, like, just bang with the guys instead of just being complacent and letting the guys come to him, because we know Rashad, you're an excellent counter striker, but it's the same with Machida and same with other guys. When you're a counter striker, you actually have to also bait the guy to come to you. You can't just say, okay, the guy's gonna come to me. That's why Floyd Mayweather is so great, is because Floyd will come at you and start jabbing you. And then this will be like, okay, he's winning in points. I have to go after him. And then Floyd will just duck under and counter. That's what Rashad needs to start doing again. That's what led him to successful wins over Forrest Griffin and successful wins over Rampage. Was the last time I saw the complete Rashad Evans, where Rashad would come in and strike at Rampage, and then when Rampage would come at him, he would strike back. Chael could get lucky because Rashad's chin is kind of shaky at best. Chael could get lucky with a big punch, and we know this guy has big punch power underneath his arms. Underneath his hands, I should say. So this is a great fight to me. I'm very excited for this fight. But I feel either win or lose, Rashad Evans, you get your pudgy ass down to 185 because you're going to be a beast at 185. That's where I feel Rashad Evans, no matter what, will recreate his career at 185.
I don't think he's going to do it. He keeps saying how the weight cut will be too hard for him. So I think he should, but at the end, I don't think he will. I think he's still motivated on fighting John Jones again, even though I don't think anybody wants to see that fight. But what was I going to say about Rashad? I just, you say how he's becoming kind of complacent. It's really hard, you look at his last fight with Dan Henderson. It's hard to be ultra aggressive against a guy like Dan Henderson.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm not saying go
old as hell, but.
I'm not saying like for Rashad to go in and just strike wildly, but he's a counter puncher. But he needs to set up better, like to be a counter puncher. He needs to actually go in and take more shots at Henderson instead of just saying, okay, I'm afraid of that left hand. Because look at what Vitor did. Vitor don't care.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson at this point in his career, Dan Henderson's only known for that left hand, and he's not known for anything else. That's because Dan Henderson's older. He's not as athletic as he used to be. It's not like Dan Henderson can take you down easily. Rashad needs to realize that, like, hey, I have the speed advantage. And that's what also he has over Chael, is that Chael, I think, besides Anderson and maybe a couple other guys, he's never faced someone as fast as Rashad. Rashad, for his size, he's really, really fucking fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the Dan Vitor thing, I just want to quick touch. I just put, how Dan got knocked out. I thought he just moved, like, see how he was, like, moving. It just looks so slow. It's like Vitor was just looking at his chin. It's like, okay, I'm just going to land an uppercut here. I just think Henderson, he's just, the age has just caught up to him. So I don't know. Like, I don't know
And
how
did you
much
notice? Did you notice
kudos I
how
could give people for that.
small? Did you notice how small Dan Henderson looked? Gee, I wonder what happens when you
Oh
don't
yeah.
when you don't take that TRT, Dan. That's what happens.
He's a light heavyweight version of Wolverine. Except,
Exactly.
Henderson's never really been called roids, but yeah, like I said, I like Rashad here. I think Rashad's gonna get his killer instinct back. I just feel like he could be aggressive in this fight because he knows Chael's not gonna beat him standing up, and even if Chael takes him down, I think Rashad can easily get back up. I think he's very elusive, and I know Chael's a nonstop motor, but Rashad's nonstop too, and this is what makes this fight so cool. And to see both guys who are gonna be in top shape, and they won't let you down. So
Yeah,
I'm still going with Rashad.
yeah, I'm going with Rashad too. I'm going second round KO over Chael. No, last time I chose Chael to lose by KO, he fucking choked out Shogun. Fuck you, Shogun. Stop messing up my UFC picks, asshole. But I always want to choose Shogun, but it's just like he's just been letting me down as of late. Like I want to choose Shogun over Gustafsson, and Shogun let me down there. I wanted to choose Shogun over Chael, and he let me down here. Rashad, don't let me down. You let me down against Little Nog, you're not gonna let me down against. Does he even have a nickname, Chael, or does he just give himself nicknames?
Wait, what happened?
Does Chael even have a nickname, like the People's Champion? Is that what he calls himself?
No, it's Tito Ortiz.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Tito has so many nicknames. Alan, the Huntington Beach Bad Boy, Lightning. He's like, hey.
I remember somebody messaged me one time about Tito. He's like, first this guy's gimmick infringing the Rock, and now then after, like when he lost to No Knock, he kept saying one more chance, and the guy's like, stop ripping off Christian. This guy, man, get him the hell off the mic.
Hey.
They're just funny. He was like mimicking wrestlers.
Hey, he's part of Aces and Eights, man. You can do whatever he wants.
That is very true. My apologies. Speaking of Shogun, what's it called? Damn, I was gonna bring it up. Yeah, what's crazy about him? He's like only 31, and he just looks completely washed up. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about athletes. Like, normally when you hit like 31, 32, that's when you're considered old by most people's standards, even though 31 and 30.
Guys like Mark Hunt, though. Mark Hunt's 39, and he went on a crazy run.
Yeah, but that's a heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is not known for its huge talent. Like, Shogun's just stuck in like the most talented division in UFC history. So that's why Shogun kind of went down. Like I just feel Shogun needs to trade up camps, say like, hey, this ain't working for me. It worked in Pride, but for some reason, I don't know why Shogun hasn't made the transition well. It's kind of weird to think about. But yeah, we're both going for Rashad here, right?
Right, absolutely.
All right, Rashad, you better be coming out to that KRS-One song. You're undefeated when you come out to that KRS-One song. So yeah, he has to. He has to come out to that KRS-One.
It's badass, man. Better than Chael's country
shit. When Rashad wants to play hip hop and Chael wants to play country, we're gonna play country.
Yeah, man.
Well, what was it that Anderson said? Chael's a hard worker. He good guy. So I guess him and Chael are cool now. Chael. He doesn't say Chael. He says Chael. All right.
Chael.
Now it's time to talk about the main event. Before we do, this is sponsored by Harley Davidson and NOS Energy Drink and whatever the fuck the UFC wants to sponsor. So
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Drink more now. During the fight, Mike Goldberg might talk about Subway for a little bit. So I hated that. I remember it was like a main event fight and there was nothing going on. So Mike Goldberg's like, Subway, eat fresh. And I'm like, fuck off, dude. Talk about the fight. Who cares if they're not doing anything? It happens.
Joe Rogan's probably slamming his head on the desk.
All right, but St. Pierre versus Johnny Hendricks, obviously one of the most interesting matchups of the year, in my opinion. This was one matchup when I heard about it. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for this one. I mean, yeah, Kane versus JDS, that looked good, but I don't know, I wasn't too hyped for it. And then Jones versus Gustafsson, come on, me and Alan, when we talked about that fight, we gave Gustafsson no fucking chance. We were like before the fight, and then after the fight, now we're just like, oh, Gustafsson, you're a good kid. But Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman, when you looked at that fight, besides the fighters saying, oh, I think Anderson's going to lose this fight, no one in their right mind thought Anderson Silva was going to do the shit that he did, and Chris Weidman knocking him the fuck out. No, like, that fight wasn't interesting. But when you heard GSP and Big Rig, I was just like, I gotta see that fight. That is the fight I've been waiting for. This is the most interesting fight to me, and I can't wait for this fight. And I was doing tape watch of both of these men before I watched this fight, and I found it hilarious how like GSP's last two title fights against Condit and Diaz, Hendricks was on the card. He fought up against Campman and knocked the fuck out of Campman. And then afterwards, he fought up against Carlos Condit and had a great fight of the year with Carlos Condit on the same cards as GSP. And GSP, he fought Condit and he fought against Diaz. And this is the first fight for GSP in the States since fighting the oh so great Dan fucking Hardy. Oh, God.
Oh, man, he's another hero in our book.
Exactly.
Love Dan Hardy, poor guy. But you know what I think also makes this fight, why it's getting so much hype, is that, you know, you see title fights being made, and, you know, a lot of times, let's face it, you see it, and you're like, huh, this guy really deserved it. Did this guy beat enough contenders? Nobody could deny Hendricks beat so many times. This guy beat John Fitch when John Fitch was a big deal. He beat Koscheck in kind of a lackluster performance. I wasn't impressed. But then he knocks out Cameron in like a minute, and then he beats Condit, which is an impressive feat in itself. You know, this guy truly deserves this opportunity, and that's why I think also a lot of people are excited for it, besides the fact that, you know, he has one-punch knockout power, and he's a terrific wrestler.
Yeah.
I think, you know, people look at him like, oh, man, this guy truly deserves it.
Yeah, and especially that John Fitch fight you want to talk about? Everyone was saying, oh, John Fitch wins this fight. He's facing GSP again. And this is when I was like, GSP and John Fitch, I won't talk about that fight again. I'm sorry. When I was watching the UFC, when they made this top 100 fights of all time bullshit, how in the blue fuck UFC you put GSP and John Fitch 1 in that? No. That fight was dreadful. Oh, my goodness. God. Oh, my God. Damn.
Did you see the top 20 submissions of all time video?
I'm gonna go check out all those videos and a little bit later. I was watching the top 20 knockouts, and I watched Anderson and Vitor, and then I watched. I don't know how they tied between Anderson and Silva and Chris Weidman and Anderson and Vitor, but UFC pick fucking one. They're like, just pick one. Honestly, to me, the best knockout of all time should be Anderson Silva on Vitor. Yeah, cool. Chris Weidman upsetted Silva, but I could upset Silva too if Silva fucking just leaned towards me and I knocked him the fuck out. You continue what you're saying?
This was a problem with my submission. The submission thing, I was watching, and I was watching 20 to 10, and at number 11, they actually put mirror tapping Big Dog, and I'm just like, only number 11?
What?
I'm sure almost everyone in the world would put that number 1. Are you serious?
Like that's like a top 5 submission. They better have some fucking Royce Gracie shit at number 1 or something. It's like something more crazy, because like that submission was crazy because like Mir looked like he was in trouble, and then afterwards and then later on he flipped over Nog and had that freaking arm bar, and then Kimura, and then just cracked his name. Does Christoph, whatever his name is, the Kimura kid from Canada, does he make the list at all?
I forget, but I know obviously Chael tapping on Anderson. Anderson tapping on Chael, as well as Jones with that crazy guillotine on
Bader.
Machida. That's one of my favorites.
What about the Bader submission? That was a crazy submission.
Wait, Tito on Bader or Bader on?
No. Jones on Bader when he did that crazy ass guillotine.
Oh, I didn't see that, but yeah, it's a pretty good one. I always forget about going to some reason. One of my favorites is obviously the Twister with the zombie. That was just
that better made the list, right?
Yeah, okay. Lemon Garcia, man. He just went completely left.
Did Matt Hughes tapping out GSP? Did that make the list? You gotta think that should make the list.
I think so. Yeah, okay. I remember that. And Hughes obviously tapping out Frank Trigg was insane. And
that's Dana White. I wonder if that's
one of your favorites. I know.
I wonder if that Dana White's still favorite fight, Frank Trigg versus Matt Hughes, because he says that's his favorite fight of all time.
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe I'll try to ask you that when I see him in February. But,
yeah, just ask him, like, is Frank Trigg and Matt Hughes still one of your favorite fights in the UFC? And I just want to, because like I think it would be a different question. It would make sense because it's a 20-year event, so you want to know what Dana White's thinking 20 years ago or whatever.
He says so much stuff though. That's crazy. Like he might pick Shogun and Henderson, so who knows? But,
he might pick Shogun.
Yeah,
he might pick that fight. That was a great fight for Dana, too. He liked it. But, yeah, Hendricks and St. Pierre. Now, the thing about Johnny Hendricks here, this is what I got to say. Don't fight like big country Roy Nelson. Don't come in here and try to knock out GSP in the first or second round, use your feints, use your jabs, use your takedowns. You can't just GSP is not someone that is going to be stupid like he was when he fought Matt Serra the first time. He ain't that young kid anymore. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. GSP is going to use his feints and use his jabs. Use the first round. Don't try to rush anything because that's what's going to cost you against GSP. You saw guys who rush against him. Don't be complacent like Condit was in the first 2 rounds against GSP because we all saw what happened when Condit was kind of complacent. He lost 2 rounds when he could possibly have won 3 rounds in a row. You know, so you can't look at GSP and just like think you're gonna knock him out right away. Is that going to be probably Johnny Hendricks' best way to beat GSP? Yes, but you need to draw this out. He has to go for the kill in the 3rd round. I think that if he doesn't go for the kill in the 3rd round, that's when, and he tries to go for the kill straight away, he's going to tire himself out because Johnny Hendricks is going to throw a lot of punches, and then we're going to just see GSP lay on top of him and win. And that's the thing. Johnny Hendricks needs to come into this fight crazy fast, and no, not crazy fast, crazy good pace, and then try to kill it in the middle rounds. Like do some Frank Shamrock mind tricks over here. Like trick out GSP. Just don't be too complacent, but be smart when you're throwing your feints and your jabs, so that way GSP doesn't think it's predictable. Because GSP is still a good fighter when it comes to standing up, but his stand up is not as great as everyone claims it to be. You know, he struggled against Jake fucking Shields out of all fuckers. If you're struggling against Jake Shields, you got a problem standing up. But that's the thing, because Johnny Hendricks is a complete fighter against GSP, but is he just another guy that we hype up? You know, how we hyped up Nick Diaz and how we hyped up Carlos Condit. And it's not like Carlos Condit and Nick Diaz didn't do well against GSP because they had their fair shots at GSP, but is he just another guy where GSP just says, hey, look at me, I dominated you. I was not impressed with your performance. Like, is that going to happen? Because the one thing, though, that's on Hendricks' side is that this fight is in the great old USA. That's the one advantage I would have to say, because I was watching some of GSP's fights, and, you know, when he was in Canada, this guy goes harder than ever before in his fights. He actually tries really hard in these fights. He, like, when he got stunned by Condit, I just saw GSP actually, like, you know, trying to get out of the moves much more faster, and in that he was trying to recover for these spans. And I feel like when he's in Canada, he feeds off that emotion of all those GSP fans, and that's what gives them like a little bit of an extra home field advantage. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some fucking Canadians traveling down to Vegas, but it's not going to be as big as if this was like a summer event in Vegas. If this was summer, I would say, yeah, GSP probably is going to have more Canadians than Americans in the building. But this is like the middle of November. Who the fuck plans a vacation November to watch a fight? No, weird people do. So all I'm saying is Hendricks is going to have a big advantage because there's not going to be a lot of Canadians. There's going to be some that will make the commute, but he's going to have a great advantage without the home crowd of GSP there. But he needs to pace himself in this match, because if he can catch GSP, then I sound like an idiot. But if he misses GSP and tires himself out, he's going to end up getting lay and prayed for the final 3 rounds, because I say it's round one, round two, he has that burst of energy. Round three, I don't know what's going to come out of him. I don't know how his cardio is past round 3 and round 4 and round 5. So that's what I think. But I feel GSP will retain here just because he will do wrestlefuck. He will wrestlefuck. I think GSP is going to wrestlefuck him to death.
That's always been my question about Hendricks, is his choreo, because I remember the Strk fight. I remember his last fight with Condit. He kind of gassed on the 3rd round. Like, he looked like he was going to knock out both guys in the first round or so. Like, he looked like, you know, if he wanted to throw, and he looked like he was going to, you know, try to knock him out. But 3rd round, he was just like wrestling, and, you know, he just holding on to them, and he had no interest in finishing the fight. I know he broke his hand in the Condit fight a little bit, but he was breathing heavily. I do remember that. I actually had the opportunity. I actually talked to Hendricks in July for a good 15 minutes. It couldn't have been cooler. Awesome guy. And he admitted, like, yeah, that Khan fight, he was worn down because he went for a lot of takedown attempts. And everyone knows when you go for a lot of, you know, takedowns, you tire yourself out. Look at what Mark Hammond did when he fought Khan. He went nothing. The whole first round, he was going for nothing but takedown attempts. Second round, he's already gassed out. So that's just the difference. And then the other thing is, I said Hendricks, one thing also worried about is striking, because, you know, as we all know, GSP has such excellent head movement. He knows how to change levels. And the thing is with Hendricks is, like, he likes to brawl a lot. He just likes to do these wild combinations. Like, you remember that kind of fight, he would just swing without, like, reckless abandon. Like, he didn't care at all. It's like, you can't really do that against GSP. Like, if he just tries to swarm him, boom, GSP will probably land a takedown. You know, so it's like, yeah, Hendricks, exactly. He has to pace himself, but I feel as if he has to win the fight in the first round because I just do not trust his guard, and I just feel like GSP, all his fights are 25 minutes, you know, while Hendricks, a lot of times he doesn't even go 15 minutes, you know, so I feel like he really needs to finish the fight in the first round. Otherwise, I just see it falling off at the end.
Yeah, because like GSP, we know this is what GSP does. Yeah, he will look bruised after the fight. He will look worse than the other guy, but he will just dominate you because he will lay and prey on you. And I mean, yeah, it's not the most exciting strategy in the world, but hey, he's the champion for a fucking reason. He's George's Rush St. Pierre. Am I rooting for Johnny Hendricks? I will say yes. I am rooting for Johnny Hendricks because I like seeing upsets that are interesting, and I like seeing interesting champions, and Johnny Hendricks is someone that's interesting. But am I going to just choose Johnny Hendricks just because I don't like GSP all that much? No, I'm going to choose GSP because he's the smarter fighter. Because GSP, this is when I knew GSP was smart because I was watching GSP and Koscheck again. And GSP, after that one takedown against Josh Koscheck, him and his corner were changing game plans. They said, hey, he doesn't want to, he's the one that wants to try to go for the takedown. Don't take Josh Koscheck down. Just jab him to death. He comes in with like 3 to 4 different game plans. I don't know what Johnny Hendricks comes in with, but pretty sure like game plan number 1 is knock the guy out, and then game plan number 2 is wrestle fuck with them. While GSP, he probably has 3 to 4 or 5 different game plans how he's going to handle with Johnny Hendricks. So, you know, GSP is a smart guy, and that's what makes him a champion. Whether he's entertaining or not, he's still a smart guy. He's the champion for a fucking reason. And this is why GSP, to me, will win this fight. Unless Johnny Hendricks, like I said, catches him. And it's going to be hard because GSP is not like when he was when facing Matt Serra the first time. Because back then, GSP was kind of like Johnny Hendricks. He was like, oh, I'm knocking motherfuckers out with my kicks and shit. I'm just going to stand with Matt Serra. And also, back in the day, who would blame him? I mean, Matt Serra is not known for great stand-up. I mean, remember when Shoney Carter fucking just hit that random spin kick on him that knocked him the fuck out? That better be on the top 20 knockouts. Is it? Is that on the? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I forgot. I gotta look it up. But as for my pick, I'm going with Hendricks. Believe it or not, you know, I'm staying by him, and it's not because I met him. Honestly, I just feel like he might not. I don't think he's a better fighter than Steve Pierre, and I think obviously I always butcher his name, but I'm not even pronounce his first name, but Zaibi, you know, St. Pierre's coach, I think he's probably one of the best in the world. Excellent coach, very intelligent guy. But I just like St. Pierre, you know, I wouldn't say chin's weak because I can't remember if there's actually been in there, but I still feel like he reacts well to taking a punch or taking punishment that much. I know Condit, he bounced back, but I feel like Hendricks is going to catch him somehow, some way, but St. Pierre gets too excited with a jab or something, you know. But like I said, it has to happen the first round. If the fight goes to third round, I'm going to be full on St. Pierre winning. But I got Hendricks second round KO and TKO, I should say. And I rarely go with upsets. It's the first upset I think I'm picking since I think Nate Diaz, Benson Henderson.
Well, we both picked Nate Diaz because we thought Nate Diaz was going to fucking win.
Yeah, that's the last time I think I picked like a challenger against the champion. So
well, don't worry, it won't be your last one because I'm pretty sure I already know who you're picking for UFC 168. So you're gonna
pick... yeah, I'm picking Misha Tate.
Oh wow, very shocking.
Oh man, but yeah, so I'm going to Hendricks, and like I said, it has to get done in the first round because I'm worried about his cardio, and then I'm worried about if he's going to get reckless.
Does Barao count as a challenger for the fallen UFC 169? Does he count as a challenger, or does he count as a champion?
With who?
Barao.
Oh, man, I feel like a lot of people believe he's the true champion. You know, I might not say it is. He might be quote unquote the interim champion, but you talk to most people, man, they're thinking, man, this guy's the real champion. Cruz hasn't fought since I think October 2011. You know, how can you consider that guy the real champion? So I would say Barao.
All right. Well, when we talk about that fight, I have some interesting things to say. I have to watch like the interviews and the prime time and the countdowns just to see where Dominic Cruz's head is at. But I'm feeling Dominic Cruz in that fight. Don't ask me why, but he has magical powers when he fights.
I think you're the only one.
Yeah, no, because like when he fights, he goes ha ha ha, and then later on these guys are like, why is he screaming? And then later on they just try to figure out why he's screaming, and that's why he wins.
Yeah, but Barrow's just a crazy name. Like Barrow's never been taken down in like 32 fights. So explosive. His ground game is sick. He's so many different submissions. I just feel like he's in his prime right now. He's putting on these great performances. I feel like Cruz 2.5 years off. I mean, I feel like there's got to be rust there. And Barrow, like I think he'll work like some Muay Thai, and you'll just see him go for leg kicks, and he's gonna test that knee of Cruz. And I think it could be an early finish. Who knows? I'm excited for that fight. I'm happy it's the main event because honestly, not many people really care about Lamas and Aldo.
Yeah, no, I care about it. I want to see Cruz and
Barrow.
Casual
fans.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about Cruz and Barrow. Oh yeah, no one cares about Ricardo Lamas versus Jose Aldo. Like fuck that. Like I'm a hardcore fan. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm saying Jose Aldo first round all the way. Maybe Jose Aldo fourth round.
Aldo by holding the fence. Left whoever did the Chad Mendes, but that's gonna happen.
Yeah, just give us Mendes versus Aldo again. Come on, Dana. What are you doing?
Or Swanson, man. Swanson. I feel like he's getting very overlooked.
I can't take Swanson against Aldo seriously after that double knee to the face.
It was like 9
seconds. It's just too hard. I mean, if I was Aldo, I would try to go for that again. just to be a dick. I would just do it again. Maybe that'll be actually funny if that fight starts again and you just see Cub Swanson just jump out of the way for no reason because he thinks the double knees are coming. He's just like he just jumped and you're like, what was that? Oh, I think he's afraid of the double knees.
Like there's a rumor going on that Gabriel Gonzaga is fighting Stipe Miocic sometime in 2014. And like, what happens if Gonzaga does a left high kick in the first round? Like, how's Stipe gonna react to it?
Probably just jump away. I don't know. Probably think of Crow Cop.
Well, you get the joke, right?
Yeah, Crow Cop, right?
Yeah. So
that was a crazy fight. That obviously made the top 20 knockouts, right?
Oh god, I think it's like top 3.
Okay, good.
It has to be, man. Oh.
It has
to. Crow Cop's my idol, but God, how can you not love that knockout? His neck just got completely bent back. Like, that's crazy about Crow Cup. Like, he got knocked out by Gonzaga and Schwab, and like both times he just got caught, and his neck just went completely the other way, and he just fell so dramatic.
I don't know what happened with Crow Cup. He kind of just like fell off the face of the earth after when he came from Pride to the UFC. Like, he would have some wins, but everyone wanted to see that Randy Couture and Crow Cup fight. But did you notice in the UFC Greatness documentary how many times they showed that crane kick to Randy Couture?
Oh yeah, that was
sick. They were showing that a lot. Dana was probably in the editing room and he was showing the Brock Lesnar knocking out Couture. I mean, he was loving this documentary, and I was surprised Tito was actually in the documentary.
Well, they had to put it. Wait, you said Tito, right?
Yeah, Tito. I was surprised he was in that documentary.
Yeah, they had to put him in though. He was a big deal for the company. He brought in a lot of money with buy rates and stuff.
Yeah.
So they had to include those guys. That would have been, unjustified if you don't include them, So
yeah.
We got like 10 to 15 minutes left. We want to talk about some of the past fights. Obviously, Kane JDS happened, and some people they criticize JDS's wrestling. I think JDS is actually pretty underrated when it comes to his wrestling. He stops a lot of Kane's takedowns. But I think JDS's problem is that his cardio sucks.
Yeah, and all of that, his clinch game is terrible. I think his clinch game is terrible, man. Like, you're training with the Nogueiras, and you're getting outbeaten by, no offense to Kane, but I don't find Kane that, I know Kane changed with Cormier, and Cormier is a great clinch guy, but his clinch game is terrible. Like, Kane was getting good inside knee, well, not good inside knees, sloppy inside knees, and he was just dominating when he was posting them up in the fence. I was just like, oh my god, like, that fight should have been stopped in the third round, man. They should have said no. They should have said no Moss in the third round. That's what they should have said. I mean, and it was kind of funny too because no Moss happened on that day, so it was kind of interesting. I was like, oh my god, are we gonna get a no Moss moment in the UFC? But no,
it's crazy. Dana White's video vlog came out, and Dos Santos was at the Belfort Henderson fight. Dude, he looks exactly fine now. Like, there's no marks on him. He looks like completely normal. He's smiling and laughing. I'm like, oh my god.
Dude, that's a medical injury. Like, everyone wants to say, oh, these UFC fighters aren't getting paid. Yeah, but look at their fucking medical insurance. That's how these fuckers are getting paid. Because that insurance that the UFC gives them and everything, you know, they can clean that shit up easy. And also, makeup is available. I'm pretty sure you have to wear some makeup.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it sucks. I think maybe the sense. Maybe he works for Shogun. Shogun, you know, he made his career off, you know, playing strikes. You could forget what he did to Rampage at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he could work for Shogun. Who knows? But it sucks, man. Because I still think Dos Santos, like, he's just gonna start going on like a rampage of just knocking out people. Like, I feel like he's still the second best heavyweight. So I don't know who's gonna test him. But that being said, if Overeem beats Mirman, I feel like. And I think they gotta do Overeem Dos Santos, and I think that fight will bring the best out of Dos Santos. He freaking hates Overeem.
Yeah, exactly.
He said that publicly, and even I asked him about it off camera, and he's like, oh, that guy, you literally called him a clown. And I was like,
Juju Dos Santos, I don't have a red nose. I'm pretty damn good. How I envision the fight is that you go in and try to strike me, but I end up not taking any of your punches because I'm very swift on my feet. And then I knock you out with a head kick in the third round. Yeah, that's how I view it.
I can't wait to interview Overeem, man. Every time he talks, I'm just gonna think of you.
Because like he's just such an interesting character. Overeem's an interesting character. But yeah, no, that fight was actually good. That whole card was actually good. Obviously Diaz and wow, fucking I always get Diego Sanchez and Diaz. Maybe because of that Ultimate Fighter relation that they used to have. Nate Diaz and Diego Sanchez, obviously. Nate Diaz was on season fucking 4, and Diaz was on, and Diego was on the first one. But Diego Sanchez versus Gilbert Melendez, that fight was fucking crazy. These motherfuckers want to kill each other.
Yeah, man. I think they have to do 5 rounds next time. But that being said, you know, it's definitely a top 5 fight of the year. But like, I don't put it that high. Just because I think Gilbert, for 13 minutes, really dominated that fight, and I don't think anyone could deny that.
Yeah.
You know, props to Diego, the guy. Everyone's been following sport for a while knows how much heart Diego has, and how like he never gets finished. He's always in a fight, and you know, him hitting that uppercut Gilbert and almost locking that guillotine was crazy. But guy got dominated for most of the fight, so that's why I look at fights like Alvarez and Chandler, and even. Maybe not Hendricks Khan, it's a little overblown. Because as good as Hendricks Khan was, it had its low points. So, like for me, I think Sanchez won is probably like a top 3 fight of the year.
Yeah. And also the thing about Sanchez, was it Ellenberger he was facing, and it was like the same situation. Like, gee, if this went if it went 5 rounds, you might actually give it to Diego in this one.
I totally forgot about
that. Wasn't it Ellenberger where he came like, the first 2 rounds Diego looked like shit, and then in the 3rd round it was like the nightmare unleashed, and he started kicking the shit out of Ellenberger, and it was like Ellenberger couldn't answer anything to him. Like that was the same thing with Gilbert. It was like Gilbert was getting his ass kicked, and I actually thought Diego was going to win. Diego's a great energy guy because he's one of those energy guys that actually could make it to the top if he just learned how to fight 3 full rounds.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought Diego locked in that guillotine. It just looked tight, and then Gilbert just slipped out of it at the end. But, man, that would have been an insane upset. That probably, honestly, if you look at it from like a judging standpoint and like just seeing how bleak things are, other than Anderson and Sonnen, that might have been like the greatest comeback in UFC history.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been one of the top comebacks. But yeah, that fight was crazy. Jones versus Gustafsson. Should we apologize for Alexander Gustafsson? I don't think he listened to our podcast, but I think we should apologize for being assholes to him. We were pretty mean.
Definitely have to apologize to him for that, man. He was just the thing that shocked me also is takedown defense. I think out of like 9 takedown attempts, Jones got 1 on him.
He only got 1.
Gustafsson kind of got gassed out by the 5th round. So, oh man, what a performance! He didn't back down. He didn't get the mind games, and you know he was checking leg kicks for the most part, and he was laying some nice shots, and he kind of exposed Jones. And Jones kept saying how his boxing improved. Dude, Jones boxing looked like garbage in that fight.
Yeah, what was with John Jones in that fight with all this spinning shit, man? I'm pretty sure Nick Diaz turned off the fight because of that, but it was like he was just going for it just to be flashy. I mean, yeah, I get it. John Jones is a fun fighter to watch just because he is fucking flashy like that. But other than that, I don't understand. Like, why is he going for all this unnecessary, like, spinning crap? It was like when Demetrius Johnson fought against Dominic Cruz, and Demetrius Johnson had points in the fight where he had Cruz in trouble, but then he decided to go for a spinning shit. It's like, why are you going for that? Like, when it was like the was it the fourth round or the third? I can't remember, the fourth round or third round, where Jones had him hurt and like Gustafsson was all over the place. Why are you spinning there? Just freaking knee him or something. Like, stop going for this. Like, I get it. You're flashy. You have the athletic ability to do it. But why? You don't need to. Just finish the fight. I mean, that kind of shit right there will cost him against Glover when they fight, because that will cost him, because Glover's gonna be like, okay, you're gonna go for that. I'm just gonna do what Chuck Liddell taught me to do. I mean, because Glover is the new Chuck Liddell. I'm not afraid to say that he's the new Chuck Liddell. He will take punches, but the problem is you don't want to get into that brawl with Glover. You don't want to get in that brawl with Glover, because Glover will do what Liddell did. Liddell will take those punches, and he's great. He's just like Chuck Liddell. Watching his fights, just like Chuck Liddell when he gets into the brawl, because he's gonna run backwards and start striking, and that's what Liddell in his prime was great at. When he was running backwards, that's what Liddell was great at.
Mm-hmm. And he throws dynamite, man. If the sure hits you, man, you go down a lot. Like, you will go down when you get hit. So that's definitely a dangerous fight, man. Even if he fights Cormier, like, I feel like Cormier would.
I think Cormier is going to be his toughest task. I think Cormier is just overall a better. Everyone just looks at Cormier like, he's too short. John Jones will outthrow him. Cormier is a better wrestler than John Jones. Cormier is a better striker. Like Josh Barnett is a great striker. Everyone does not realize that. Josh Barnett's a great striker. I saw this guy outstrike Josh Barnett. I wasn't giving Cormier a chance. I said, oh, cool, Cormier beat Bigfoot Silva. Who gives a fuck? And then later on, he was going to fight Josh Barnett. I said Josh Barnett was going to win. I didn't care if Josh Barnett was on steroids. I just said he's going to win this fight. And he did that. He just did that. Cormier outstruck him. He outstruck Josh Barnett, and Josh Barnett is a great fucking striker in MMA. So I just say Cormier is going to be his toughest matchup, because John Jones, I hate to say it, but he hasn't been looking good in his last couple fights, in my opinion.
Yeah, he hasn't been as active as much. I think that's another issue. Maybe he needs to be more active, but it's good though. Like, people are wondering after a shot fight, how many more challenges are in the light heavyweight division. Jones has pretty much knocked out everybody or finished, everybody. But now we got some more contenders now. That's good.
Yeah, and another thing is also more weaknesses for Jones, because obviously we saw in the Vitor fight, Vitor almost got him with the armbar, so people know, hey, he's very aggressive with his takedown. So if you're a good submission guy, you're probably a great matchup for John Jones, because you could probably snap in an armbar up. God, I wish Vitor would have won that fight. Could you just imagine Vitor as champion right now? Vitor don't care. Vitor fight Chael. Vitor fight Chael for the belt. Even the Chael Sonnen fight, he didn't look that great. He didn't look that great against Chael.
Yeah, he just mauled him pretty much. But sadly, I just realized my phone's kind of dying, and we're gonna have to do an impromptu wrap up. But we're definitely gonna be more active with this, especially now that we can do the whole phone thing, and that will definitely be helpful in the future. So I don't want my phone die and be randomly leaving. So let's end it here. But so your picks are, let's repeat again: Elliott,
Tim Elliott.
You got Woodley, Lawler, Evans, and St. Pierre, right?
Yeah, those are my 5 picks.
Okay, my differences are Rory and Hendricks. So
yeah,
we got some differences this time. So definitely got to keep a look out on that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna choose Chael, but then afterwards I was watching the countdown, and I just saw how Rashad was training, and how Rashad said that he's gonna be more aggressive than he was in the past, and I just kind of was like, when Rashad says something, he kind of does it. He's not one of those guys that bullshits you around. So, I know what I'm going to get with Chael. It's going to be a fun fight. We're going to have fun post-fight interviews, but I just had to go with Rashad on this one. I don't think Chael is going to... If Chael wins this fight and he beats Wanderlei, I want to see Weidman versus Chael. If Weidman's still champion.
Sick, man. Oh, man. That'd be
Chris
fun.
Weidman, you absolutely suck. I beat Anderson Silva before it was cool. Like, you would just say you beat it. You would say something crazy like that.
I feel like Rashad's like the anti-Roy Nelson. Like, every time Roy Nelson talks, I just kind of try to ignore it, because everything he says just seems like bullshit.
Mm-hmm. But with Rashad, it's like, he's serious when he says, like, oh yeah, I gotta really be up for this. Like, he was serious when he said that he wanted to fight Anderson Silva. Rashad doesn't bullshit around, and he's a serious guy, and that's why I respect Rashad, because he doesn't bullshit around with the media or the fans. Like, he just tells you straight how it is. Like, he's going to be real. Whether you like him or hate him, he's going to be real with you.
Yeah. That's why I was so happy when he beat Rampage. I was like, oh, fine, thank God.
There's going to be some black on black crime.
18 big amp, I just couldn't take Rampage seriously anymore.
Hey, leave Rampage alone. He's going to eat his ice cream. He's going to have a great time in Bellator. You know,
he's fighting tonight. Oh, shit, I forgot. He's fighting tonight.
Yeah, Rampage is fighting tonight. Don't you have your dog chain and your howl ready? I'm fucking ready for this Rampage fight.
Yeah, no, I got my suit ready, man. Main event Moxie stuff.
He didn't even wear his suit when he was in bed.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's like actually Atlantic City. I could have gone, but I feel like going 3 hours away to watch Rampage. Enjoy.
Why would you want to watch? Yeah, I would tell you not to waste money on that. I mean, Alexander Volkov.
For free. I could have gone for free.
Oh, media stuff with media.
Yeah, I could have gone as media, but I feel like going 3 hours for. I don't know anybody really on the card.
Alexander Volkov is fighting. That's an interesting fight. But everyone else, I'm just like, who? Nashawn Burrell? Who the fuck is Nashawn Burrell? He has probably the coolest name in MMA.
Oh, man. No, I think the coolest MMA is Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm not probably saying that, but I just thought that's a cool ass name.
No, you said it right, because remember, the last show we did, Khabib fought on, and I pronounced it correctly. But yeah, correct. Quickly, Ultimate Fighter. What do you think about the season?
I think Ronda's. I mean, it's not a stock fight like Ronda. Yeah, she is not very popular. She just cries too much. It's unfortunate because I met her twice and she couldn't have been nicer.
Every time her fighter loses, she's like, I feel bad. It's like, God damn.
She's like Andy Wang.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every time she's just crying every fucking minute. And I'm interested in this next episode because it seems like shenanigans are going down with the finals and the male fight. So I'm very interested in this next episode of The Ultimate Fighter. None of the guys in this cast, I'm sorry, I don't like any of the fucking guys on this cast.
Yeah, I can't really say anything. Like, I don't like Gutierrez and I forgot who else, but
Chris Holdsworth,
I guess, is all right.
Yeah, Holdsworth is just annoying, his personality. But you know the one guy that I like, but he had to leave because of that. Who was that guy? He was in the first 2 episodes, and he had to leave because he had an injury. I like that guy. That guy was a dick, and he seemed like he had great potential.
Tim something. I know his first name is Tim.
Yeah, and he was all like, I ain't going to fight women in the gym. Are you fucking kidding me? I was like, this guy right here has potential to just be he seemed like he was a good fighter, too. It didn't seem like he sucked because his prelim fight was pretty good. So I was just like, this guy has potential. But the women, you got so many good women out of this fucking season.
Juliana Peña's my girl.
Juliana Peña, she's fucking good. Sarah Moras, Raquel. Even though she lost, she put up a good fight. Jessamine Duke.
Yeah, she's so tall. Jessamine Duke, she's like the Stephen Struve of the women.
No, she's better than Stephen fucking Struve.
Yeah, I'm just like, just her height and just how lanky she is.
And also, she was like, I thought she was going to the finals just because UFC, every cutscene they want to see, it would be Jessamine Duke being like, this fight right here was really good. And I'm like, God damn, like, she must be going to the final. And then she lost. I was like, oh, never mind.
Never mind.
Shayna Baszler is still a fucking good fighter, even though she lost her fight. The Queen of Spades, she's a fucking good fighter still. Roxanne, she's still a good fighter. Like, those are high energy people for the women's division, I think. Like, the women here, boom, stock up. The men this season, but I think next season is going to be better. I mean, you have BJ Penn and fucking Frankie Edgar. You know there's going to be some shenanigans with BJ being like, I'm the best, Frankie, and you don't know that because you beat me twice, but I'm going to beat you again. Woo, BJ Penn!
And Henzo Gracie's probably going to be on. Henzo, he talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting. Tough Brazil, I'm pretty sure people want to watch that because it's going to be chill and wonderful.
I don't know if it's going to be televised, but yeah, I want to see it.
I think UFC.com did, Fuel TV televised Brazil before the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. Before that aired on Fuel TV, so hopefully, fingers crossed. There's going to be a lot of subtitles for us. So for all the people that like watching Japanese shows and Mexican shows, you're used to that shit. But I ain't. I'm going to be sitting there and I'm going to be entertained with Chael speaking English or trying to speak.
First moment, Chael, I kill you. And then Chael, Man, they're like, all your fights were fake. Shut up.
That you know what also I noticed this season? The Ultimate Fighter door hasn't been broken yet.
Wait, what?
The Ultimate Fighter door. They haven't breaking it yet. That used to be the trademark of the Ultimate Fighter. The door would always get breaking, or like someone would slam it really hard. Nothing has happened to the door yet.
Yeah, like a Junie Browning moment or something.
Yeah, like you need to like hit the door or something. I'm hoping this is the episode where the door gets just slammed or something.
Oh, all right, I got this for you. You gotta watch Dana White's last vlog. There's sort of Ronnie Jason. He lost to Jeremy Steven. This guy literally punched the wall, and they had the videotape. And then you just see him punching through a wall, and then he just starts crying for about 30 seconds, and his hand bleeds. So funny.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I'm watching all the UFC stuff. Like I'm going to be watching the pre-fight press conference, the pre-fight press conference where they talk about the fight with the media. Then I'm going to watch the weigh-ins. I probably will watch that video log next because when the UFC events come, I watch all that because it's like I have nothing to do on this Friday. Might as well watch some UFC, get hyped up for a big Saturday fight.
Yeah, I get pumped.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fucking excited for this one.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the 20th anniversary of you. And also now I got those top 20 stuff because I read because you know how you can read the programs online. Did you notice?
No, I haven't checked. It's on the website.
Yeah, on UFC.com for all the fight programs. Just for people who want to know, you can read these fight programs online now, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So I was actually reading those top 20. Like that, I didn't know how to make it larger or download it because I don't have like Photoshop or whatever. No, not Photoshop. I don't think I have the updated Adobe or whatever, Adobe Reader. But I was reading those and I was just going through old programs. Like it was really cool. So if you want to go through the old programs, pretty good stuff. And those things are like $30 to buy. I fucking pay $30 when you can read them for free. But yeah, they had the top 20 stuff, but I could barely read the text. But I just knew that Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva and Vitor were tied just because of that program. I'm like, that's stupid, UFC. Come on, just pick one. Don't get tied.
Yeah, just make a decision.
Just make a decision.
I think they love that moment so much because it's just so unpredictable.
Who ever thought that Anderson Silva would get the best knockout ever and then get knocked the fuck out?
We'll definitely stay in touch, and now that we have this kind of new stuff, we'll definitely do more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe we'll do recaps, and I want to preview that Fox show. That Fox show was really good, even though Pettis got hurt.
Yeah, that sucked. That Pettis.
Okay,
do you think Josh
Faber McDonald?
Okay, who do you think is happier that? Who do you think is super happy before you leave that Pettis got hurt? God, who was it? TJ Grant?
TJ Grant. I'd say TJ Grant's happy because now he could get like a title shot or like an intern title shot or whatever. TJ
Grant? Gilbert Melendez? Do you think he's happy?
That's a good question. I think Gilbert needs one more win. No, I don't think Gilbert cares because he's never fought Pettis. I think if Henderson was a champion, then he'd probably be happy.
Yeah, I think Gilbert was actually cheering for Josh Thompson just because he knows how Josh Thompson's fight. And Josh Thompson's another guy that, you know, took some sensu beans or took some like Tim Duncan medicine to wind back the time, the clock, so that way he can be good again. So I was really looking forward to that fight because Josh Thompson, he's been doing well. So
yeah, I really wanted to see Pettis. You know, they're very dynamic, and Thompson is just he continues to improve. So yeah, I was really looking forward to that. But oh well.
Yeah. The lightweight TJ Grant, you're welcome. You're welcome, TJ Grant. He gave you an opportunity. All right. Thanks for coming on, Alan. It's great to do this again. And we're going to be doing more of these with MMA because I want to get more MMA on my channel, but it's just like hard to talk MMA by myself. And I like doing the podcast format because it's more entertaining than just like oh, you know, it's hard to talk about, you know, the pre-fights without someone else. But yeah, make sure you guys watch Rampage versus God, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Just watch fucking Rampage fight tonight. He's gonna go howling and shit. Tito Ortiz versus Muhammad King Mo. Bellator's on the rise, people. Fuck the UFC.
You know the fights on Twitch. I love how we just promoted that.
Wait, promoted what?
King Mo versus Tito. I made that up. That's not actually happening.
That's going to happen. Book it, Bellator. Bellator is on the rise, people. Down with.
I don't know, man. They just lost Ben Askren. But I guess that's not a big deal.
Wait, Ben Askren's gone?
Yeah, they released Ben Askren. You didn't hear about that?
Oh, is he going to the UFC now?
I don't know. Dana says he doesn't think he wants to sign him, but they're probably bullshitting.
Yeah, don't
I
worry.
don't know.
Don't
Maybe Ashton goes to World Series of playing and he fights John Fitch on pay per view. That'll sell the arena.
don't worry, because we're gonna hear that, and then Ben Askren is gonna be GSP's next opponent, and we're gonna get Remember the Name commercial.
God.
Lay and pray for the fucking win.
Maybe Nick Diaz can interfere or something.
Don't be scared, homie. I'm going to go. Doesn't Nick Diaz want to fight Lyoto Machida, or I don't know what the fuck is
No, that rumor died down like in July.
Okay. Lyoto's doing. Hey, I'm glad Lyoto's in 185. Like, honestly, as much as I love Silva, I almost want Chris Weidman to win just to see how he would handle Vitor, Lyoto, and fucking Chael. I'm actually wanting Chris Weidman to win just a little bit more, just to see how Chris Weidman would handle those guys, you know?
Yeah. And I know Leo's fighting Musasi next.
Ooh, wait, 185 or 205? Musasi's a 205.
No, 185.
Wait, Musasi moved down too?
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness. Oh god, 185 is just.
I wish we thought about this, but literally my phone just right now about dying. I want to.
We have more podcasts to talk about later. Thanks for joining, Alan. Remember, you guys can subscribe down below. Follow Alan on Twitter at Alan_Strk. And that's about it. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.